Welcome back, fans and friends. I am going to showcase a brand we do every now and then, but this will be the first time, and I'm gonna talk about what exactly my thoughts are. Obviously, there are plenty of other people who will probably do a better job than this, but it is Maisto, and so Maisto has released these speed icons. You can just see right there, released 2024. This here is the Lamborghini Sian FKP 37. Lamborghinis, they said it's their most powerful, but it is actually their first hybrid car as well. So you can just see there, the packaging looks very extravagant. And so why I say that is this one's direct competitors are Mini GT, which also comes with the box. If you're looking on the upper end, obviously you have all those Ino 64 and all that stuff, but that's almost 2 or 3 times the price of this. Mini GT is roughly in this price range. This is probably 50% more than a Matchbox Collector Series, which also comes with a box. Is extremely plain. So the good thing about this one here is we will, obviously you can see there, the back deck opens. We can take a look at the V12. I don't know if we're going to be able to differentiate the hybrid part of the car. This is a hybrid assist vehicle rather than a plug-in. So basically, I already said the V12 runs the car, and then the hybrid provides additional power while the car is running, and simply it's like a power boost until it stops boosting. And so the thing is that you don't have to plug it in. You don't need the extra infrastructure, which I believe it's very difficult not to set it up. Obviously, like how hard is it to set up an outlet and charge car? The problem is often takes 3-4 hours to charge the battery powered part of the car if it runs solely on battery. There's a bunch of other things, but also where I am, people will steal and damage it. So, and you can't just leave it there, because these I've seen, like I said, we went to the dealership, and the charging stations, the plugs and all that stuff, you're gonna really want, if you're going to work at 5 in the morning, spend 5-10 minutes putting all of that back in the car. For if you're in your own house and it's in your garage, it's perfect. But the hybrid option, like I said, this car is an example of the hybrid assist version of the car. Is great. You just turn it on and off you go. Anyway, speed icons. Like I said, this is the first time I've seen this on the shelves. They were released apparently last year. I am only getting them now here in Canada, but it does look very similar. But the box itself looks way better than the Matchbox versions. Probably the same as the Mini GT. Mini GT has that plain elegance to it. This one, I believe, is built for flashiness. Obviously, Lamborghini is not a subtle vehicle, and so we just saw their die-cast metal body, die-cast metal chassis. They're telling us stuff we should already know. So there's advertising things that you see there, opening doors. That technically is what the British would call the bonnet, and in North America we call it the hood. So obviously that is the part of the car. If you were driving a front engine car, the hood would be there, but technically this is the trunk because there is no engine here. Most, if not a lot of Lamborghinis are mid-engine rear-wheel drive cars. A lot of them nowadays though are four-wheel drive, so that's fair. But to advertise, opening doors, it doesn't look like these doors will open. So I prefer the hood. Like I said, the Nissan Skylines, one of my favorite part about Greenlight is their Nissan Skylines all have an opening hood. I'm just waiting for them to release an R33 version of the car, and R32, I believe. I don't know if I have a Greenlight. It might just be a lot of, I have Mini GT. I have a bunch of, I have an Ino 64 one that I'm afraid to open just because of how much I paid for it. Unfortunately, those premium brands are completely premium brands. So it comes in the box here, and you can just see how I completely destroyed it. So I will not be going back into that box. And it comes like the Maisto. You have there, because obviously this is Maisto. Sorry, unlike with the Matchbox, you get this plastic insert. You can just see there. And this part here was holding the bonnet open. We'll just call it bonnet, but it is technically the hood. And then you have here the box. The box, unfortunately, I just believe it doesn't have a specific slot. And we're going to take 10 seconds to make sure the plastic addition can be put in here to keep the car from rattling around. Because we all know the Matchbox one does not allow it. It is simply too wide. And if you trim it down, it doesn't fit anymore. So we can actually just do that right now. And then we'll do it at the end to see if the car, see, here you go. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite fit inside. So that's kind of a letdown, which means that the car, once you put it in the box, is just going to bounce around. And so that makes for a very unhappy time. We'll try once again when I do that at the end of the video to see if you can squeeze everything in there. Like I said, it'd be perfect. Like, I don't understand why they don't engineer it that way. You have so much extra material when the car is here on the sides, and I don't understand. They can just trim it down, make it more form-fitting, save themselves some time, money, and effort. Anyway, we'll start from the front, work our way around. Rear view mirrors, always nice to see. Left-hand drive car, you can just see there the Lamborghini symbol, nice, and is centered in the middle of the, we'll call that the trunk for now because that's the hood. It's reversed, I don't understand, but like I said, it's a mid-rear engine car, it's a little bit different. You can just see there the stylisting lights, just painted on, nothing special about that. Onto the gold background. Wheels, so they are in fact plastic, rubber on plastic, which is great. They appear to run very well. You know what? It does okay. It's not perfect. You can just see there where it rapidly slows down. But I mean, this is not, it's not cheap. So it's not really a toy per se, but it's a toy. Anyway, on to the left side, you can just see there, bucket seat, steering wheel, a little bit fuzzier to see in instead of the front one, maybe because it's smaller and there are a bit more curves. You can just see there the gap where it fits into the roof. Nothing special about the roof there, not a lot of angular. They're sort of going back to, I want to say, a rounded off version of the Countach, a little bit, just a little bit. And obviously the rear view vision out of this car must be atrocious, unless they're using a camera. Anyway, nothing else to say. You have there the more copper colored wheel rims, the side splitter, front splitter there is the same part, so it's the same as the shell of the car when they're manufacturing it. There's the door handles. Nothing else really sticks out. You have here, no, it probably has, but I'm not sure, as auto elevating spoiler. Most of these high performance cars have that. The McLarens are very famous for it, but you do have these here, and so those might fill the function. If people are familiar with aircraft, they have the winglets on the end of the wings. These perhaps serve a similar function and probably are motorized. I don't know if it would be better to motorize two small parts like this or an entire hood, spoiler on the back. And on the license plate, while rather difficult to read, it does say Sian and then FKP 37 underneath it. You have the dual exhaust on either side of where the plate is, and you have the triple rear lights on either side, which is actually really nice. Painted evenly. They are separate pieces, as you can see there, so they would qualify as inserts, so that's really nice and highly unusual. And you can just see there a little bit of silver where it was glued in. It is not present on this side, which means it's simply a defect of manufacturing. Doesn't take away from the car. We have actually, I just noticed right now, and this is very common on sports cars, especially on Lamborghinis, we have wider rear wheels than the front wheels, which is nice and nearly life-size accurate. So if you look there, obviously they're very two different sizes. I only noticed though when I was looking like this. And the back wheel hides it entirely the front wheel. Finishing with the back onto the right side, everything is the same except for the gas cap, which is right there. And everybody knows I'm not a proponent of the gas cap on the opposite side of where the driver would be, unless they're making the passenger fill up the car. But I don't imagine they take the car out every time with a passenger, so they might end up having to do it themselves, and they simply have to walk all the way around to the car. Some people will say it helps because you get to see the full 360 view of the entire car, unless, you know, this is the sort of car where you'll probably enjoy the view. So, I mean, why not? And you can just see there, the curvature, the door handle, nothing on the rearview mirrors. We have seen certain versions of other cars where the inside there is painted silver. This one is not. I just noticed it says, can't really read it. It's quite fuzzy. But I believe it's 2 numbers. Unfortunately, I cannot properly read it. And we have 2, I believe these here are the turning indicators. I believe it says 83. but I shouldn't be quoted on that. I'd have to see the actual car in real life, but I'm pretty sure it says 8. The numbers, two numbers, 8 and 3. Or it could be 37, like the Sian 37, but I am unsure. Okay, so with having covered the entirety of the vehicle, so this is interesting here, and this is, we all know from Greenlight, is a limited edition number. I don't remember if the package tells us it is. This is obviously designed very much to compete with Hot Wheels Premium and a bunch of other companies, like not really Greenlight too much, they don't give you boxes, but matchboxes. So die-cast metal body, die-cast metal chases. It says nothing about oh, there you go. So I do apologize, it does actually say limited edition, but unlike M2 it doesn't tell us how many of that. I just missed that little part there, I apologize, but I've covered it now, so we can get it on with the show. So like I said, it has a limited edition number. I don't know how many there are. Lamborghini Sian FKP 37. So I believe that is 37 up there on the wing. I'm not sure. And we have, just like a good Mattel, absolutely nothing on the bottom. However, I do believe this is a four-wheel drive car. So it would require the reverse of the last video. Not really the reverse, more like the early Corvettes, where the engine is in the front. Most muscle cars, actually, the 90% of them, the engine is in the front, and it's a rear-wheel drive car. This is the exact opposite, where it's sort of mid-rear, and then the drive is just everywhere. So I guess it is like the Lancer Evolution. It has the engine in the front, and then the four-wheel drive to the rest of the car. This one is the exact opposite. The engine's here, and it powers all four wheels. Unfortunately, there's no transfer case, drive shaft, none of that stuff. And so also I was curious because I guess the inlets to the engine are here on the side. Probably means you shouldn't throw cups full of water out the window, because the only place it can go if you're driving really fast is where you wouldn't want it to go. So unfortunately, it's really easy. So you can just see there, it is a stamped sheet of metal for the hood. And you can just see there where would be the inlets normally. Unfortunately, the engine, as you can see there, is rather oh, there we go. Okay, so that's a better view, and as you can just see into the middle, we can actually see right into the cabin behind that bulkhead. Unfortunately, I don't know where the hybrid powertrain is, but obviously that gold part with the black in the middle and the pipes on the other side is the intercooler turbocharger / cylinders. This is a V12. Lamborghini doesn't do, well, they do it, but it's a little bit different how they do their V12 naming conventions, so it's hard to tell if this is a reused engine, if it is a brand new engine, and they've simply added the hybrid power to it. I do believe, I can't say where it is, but it does look like it is just behind the engine where that bar is, but I'm not sure. And so there we have it, the Lamborghini Sian FKP 37, Lamborghini's first hybrid vehicle. And this one is brought to us by Maisto. It's actually not bad. It was kind of expensive, so it was $4 more than Greenlights or M2s, and about $1 off of a Hot Wheels Premium. So it is rather on the expensive side. However, this is the first time I've actually covered it, so I would rather. And the Lamborghini was, I think, the only one that was on the shelf. So they are not very common. The only place, where did I see it? I think it was Toys R Us. So Walmart had absolutely nothing. Amazon is overpriced for these kind of things. And then the only other option really is eBay. And they're even more overpriced than Amazon. But the selection is better, so you make that trade-off. So overall, what's my review? Like all things where they put the 164 and you get the little star because it's not quite 164. It is very much better than Maisto's normal stuff. I guess it's more sized towards 164. So if you happen to want a more accurate vehicle, it probably is that. But the one thing I would love for these companies to do, and Mini GT does it, where the insert I have for the S-Tune R32, you can actually put it back. You can close it all up. And you can, in fact, put it right back into the box. They literally do not penalize you for it. Unfortunately, this one does not look like I will be able to. I said I would, so that's how you put it back there. You see, everything is where it needs to go. and it's going to be a really tight squeeze, but it is better. You know, you're going to be worried about damage. Probably not. These things are super light. You're not using it as a football, but you can just see I am not enjoying the amount of effort. And you're just fighting it at this point. You see there, it doesn't quite fit. So unfortunately, and you can just see there, it's sort of bowed out the box, or bowed out, depending on your pronunciation. And so obviously the plastic's got to go. And then so what happens is why they didn't build the cardboard box so much smaller. The other thing I believe I can try is, it sounds like work and I don't really want to do work when I'm not at work, is shave off the top here. It would probably fit, and then but I'd also need to trim off the sides here, because you can see here just how much wider. Unfortunately, if you try to put it sideways, where the cardboard is actually, you can just see there, it goes right in, but now it's not tall enough. So unfortunately, it's one of those things where you could do it so much better, and you can just see there I've sort of ripped it too, which is not fun. But anyway, overall, this is actually probably the worst part of this, because they give you this, and like I said, Mini GT can do it. It's, yes, of course, it's more expensive, but you wouldn't need so much cardboard, you wouldn't need so much plastic, and then you could actually put this back in there. So if you want to collect it, probably just best to leave it in the package. I'm showing you what I got, and like I said, it's brand new. You always have that little thrill of finding things that are new on the shelves you've never seen before. This is my first speed icon, not speed machines, that's a Mattel thing, but this is speed icons. And obviously I don't know how iconic this car is, but it is Lamborghini's, at the time, most powerful car, with the assistance of an electric assisting hybridization engine that provides, like I said, additional power rather than solely powering the car. You can't turn it off, otherwise the car will not run. And so they have given it to us here in this tiny little package that I have just damaged because I wanted to attempt to put it back in. And the rest of this stuff is just recycling and garbage. Anyway, fans and friends, this has been a rather long movie, so I'm just thankful you stick around with me as we take a look at this brand new product from Maisto, Speed Icons. This comes from Toronto. Thanks for watching, and to the next one.